welcome back to the channel. I do appreciate you joining me today. We are going to continue my top 5 favourite horror films of every decade of which I've been alive. You know, we've done the 1980s, you can see that on the channel, link in the description. We have done the 1990s. If you haven't seen that, you can see it, the link is in the description. And now, obviously, without further ado, this one is our next one indeed. This one is my top 5 favourite horror films from the 2000s. Let's get into this one. Kicking this list off with number 5 is a little film called Altered. Now, Altered is a super cool low-budget horror film that kind of brings this concept of a reverse alien abduction story where it centres around 4 men who have been previously abducted many years ago, and it's about them kidnapping their own alien who wronged them in the past and basically wreaking horrifying revenge on it. It's just a really cool film that I think is ahead of the pack when it concerns other no to low budget straight to video releases. It has some fucking great good old fashioned gore as well, and it's kind of like got this raw tone through the whole thing, and I really enjoy it. It's very dialogue heavy, and it's equally interesting as it is creepy. It gets really fucking creepy as well. It's really well done. This film is a love letter to the classics such as John Carpenter's The Thing and Sam Raimi's Evil Dead. It's just a low budget kind of rendition taking ideas from those movies, but I think it's vastly entertaining. I think it has gone sorely missed amongst the dredge of straight to DVD releases we get every year. So if you're a horror fan, if you're looking for something that's super low budget but it's got great gore and is more or less set in one location, uses all those things as a positive and really stretches their budget in the best possible ways, I really recommend Altered. Coming in at number 4 is a film that I've only seen recently in the last few years or so, but I was totally captivated by it and it has to make this list. My number 4 is Dreamcatcher. I really love this movie. It's a film to me that just thrusts you on a roller coaster ride, and it does it all exceptionally well. Is it a horror film? Yes. Is it an alien film? Also yes. Is it a creature feature? Most definitely. Does it have characters with superpowers and a wonderful alien possession subplot? Absolutely. This film to me, it does all these things really well, and is only let down, just slightly though, only let down by its ending. The acting is great, the gore is inventive, and Damian Lewis's performance as the alien possessed Jonesy, a character known as Mr. Grey, should be Oscar worthy. Like, his character steals the whole show in this film and I love it. It's a wonderful piece of character acting. It's the highlight of the film. Like a lot of these films that I featured on these lists, this one is criminally underrated. It's a long film, so you know, get a cup of tea and get your popcorn ready, put your boots on. But I think with it being such a slow burn movie and such a long film, you get to know these characters, you get to learn what they do, what their powers are, how they communicate, why they've come to this, you know, rural kind of cabin in the snow area, and why these things are happening. You kind of learn, and it's kind of got that build, and obviously you've got the Mr. Grey character who's exceptionally acted by Damian Lewis. This is a great film. The ending could have been better, of course, such as things, but I still think it's definitely worth a watch and you should go and check it out. Number 3 of this list is a film that really surprised me back in the day, and I still think it's really fucking great now. This is a film called Splinter. Splinter is another great example for me as a low budget movie that uses all of its budgets to great effect. It's set at a sleepy gas station for the duration of the movie, and the film kind of follows a young couple as they discover a hostile organism that infects its victims like a parasite, and in turn transforms them and contorts them into rabid, unrelenting monsters. This is that kind of, you know, The Thing-esque body horror movie. This film just literally gives me Serious the Thing vibes. And it also kind of like showcases how excellent films can be made solely utilising one location. But I do like a low budget focused movie, just like I spoke about at the beginning of this list with Altered, that basically most of that film takes place in one location. But this film, it all takes place at this lowly old gas station, and they use that to such great effect. To me, it's just a uniquely made body horror film that ticks all those boxes for the Thing fans and the like. This one, it gets under my skin a little bit. Like, the organism is quite parasitic, and it is very, very fucking, creepy crawly kind of thing, where it's like, I don't want that inside me, like, bleh. Like, it's proper like that. But I think it's a great body horror film that I don't think many people have seen, but it is exceptionally good, and that's why it's number 3 on the list. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you check it out. We're down to the last 2 of our list, guys. Number 2 is going to be The Descent. I remember watching this film with a group of friends for the first time, and it just completely captivated and gripped us to our seats. It was unrelentless and didn't let up until the end. There's this shot in the film where it kind of slowly pans to reveal the monster of the movie. And the monster's kind of like lurking behind one of the characters, like over their shoulder. It's such a well done scare that doesn't use any of those jump scare tropes. It still genuinely fucking scared the shit out of me and my friends when we watched this for the first time. It's effective in its use of the slow build, and it has these handheld camera moments that have like night vision, and they use that so well that it is just unnervingly scary. This film is kind of set in a series of caves that our group of female friends go to explore. During their adventure, it turns to horror when the cave kind of collapses in on itself, and they, in the bid to survive, unwittingly discover a hive of blind humanoid monsters that want to eat their flesh. Typical claustrophobic monster horror. And I love it, man. I love it. It's so good. This is one of the greats, and I mean the great, of British horror, and one that does not get the recommendation it deserves. I really highly recommend that everyone go and see this film. The Descent is excellent, and everyone should watch it. We are down to my number 1 horror film of the 2000s. Now, I'm going to butcher the French title, and then I'll tell you the English title. This film is called L'Intérieur, which translates to Inside. This is probably the most brutal, hard to watch film I have ever sat through. It is unrelenting in its depiction of violence and just unsettling moments, man. Like this fucking well bleak. This film is unrelenting depression on legs. And I love every moment of this film. It's definitely one of those modern horror films that I think is just above every other. Like, it's my favourite modern horror film. I've always found home invasions rather scary, because in reality, they could happen. And that terrifies me, because I don't know how I would react to that. I don't know if I would freeze and do what they tell me, or whether I would fight. Fight or flight is a thing. Interesting, isn't it? The fact that this is a home invasion film is bad enough, but the other fact that the invader in this film wants to cut out and steal the protagonist's unborn child is absolutely horrific. The film is also set on Christmas Eve, so happy times for all then. Yeah, this film, it takes what should be a happy time, both Christmas and, giving birth to your child, and turning it into like a terrifying nightmare for 82 minutes. I was generally exhausted and somewhat broken after this movie, and it's just I'm losing my words for it, because it's that good, it's that unnerving, it's that unsettling, and it's that brutal that sometimes I'm lost for words of how to describe this movie. Yeah, it's brutal, it's gnarly, it's not nice to watch, but if you're a fan of this kind of horror, it is probably the greatest example of a home invasion movie ever to be put on screen. I love it. It's my favourite modern horror film ever, and I think you guys should check it out. Inside is top tier horror. Thank you ever so much for watching as always, guys. I really do appreciate it. If you want to see more from me on this channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. If you liked what you see, smack that like button. It really helps us out. If you don't like this video and think I'm rubbish, the dislike button has always been there. You know, you can hit that if you like. Whatevs. Next video is going to be my top 5 favourite horror films of the 2010s. Look forward to that one. And as always, I've been Jason, and I'm out.